My name is Steve, and I'm 32 years old. I've been married to my wife, Emma, for almost 6 years now. We've been together for over 8 years, living together for 7. And for the longest time, I truly believed we were the perfect couple. We both have good jobs, stable finances, and 2 cars. 5 years ago, we bought a house together, turning it into a home filled with love and laughter. Then, in February 2022, everything changed. My mother passed away suddenly from a heart attack. It was devastating, a loss so profound that it shook me to my core. The months that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I struggled to function, and my grief weighed heavily on me. Emma was close to my mom too, so she grieved alongside me, but I know it wasn't the same for her. The sadness in our house was overwhelming. We barely went out. We just stayed in, curled up on the couch, watching TV in silence more often than not. I wasn't happy, but I believed, without a doubt, that we would get through it together. Then came the night that changed everything. It was 5 weeks ago when Emma told me she was going out drinking with 3 male friends from work. I knew all of them, so I didn't see any reason to worry. I told her, "All right, have fun. I'm heading to bed soon." She kissed my cheek and left, and that was that. At 3:30 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of the front door. Emma was back, but she wasn't alone. The 3 guys were with her. She told me they were heading into the city to continue drinking. I didn't like it. Something about it felt off, but what could I do? I wasn't going to start a fight over it. So, I just nodded and went back to bed. Everything in town closes at 4 a.m., and the ride home is only about 15 minutes. But Emma didn't get home until 5:30. That was when the first seed of suspicion was planted. Before that night, I had never doubted her. Not once. But something about her coming home so late, after a night out with 3 guys, gnawed at me. Then, 4 weeks ago, she left again. It was a Sunday, and she said she was going to a carnival with her mom. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust her like I always had. But something didn't feel right. The doubt was growing, and for the first time in our relationship, I realized I didn't know if I could trust her anymore. But what can you do? That Sunday, she left without saying a word while I was in the shower. I remember stepping out, expecting to find her in the living room or the kitchen, but she was gone. No goodbye, no explanation, just gone. It didn't sit right with me, but I tried not to let my mind spiral. Maybe she was just in a rush. Later that evening, when she finally came home, she walked through the door in tears. Real, heavy, gut-wrenching sobs. My stomach dropped. My first instinct was to rush to her, to hold her, to protect her from whatever had hurt her. "Honey, come here," I said softly, stepping toward her. "What happened? Did something happen? What's got you so upset?" She looked up at me, her face streaked with tears, and her next words nearly knocked the air out of my lungs. "I want a divorce." I froze. "What?" I barely got the word out. She sniffled, looking at me with those same eyes I'd woken up next to for years, except now, they were filled with something distant, something I couldn't reach. "I want a divorce," she repeated, her voice breaking. The room started spinning. Just days ago, I thought we were okay, or at least, that we were getting through things together. Now she was saying she wanted out? "Emma, what are you talking about?" I asked, my voice rising with panic. "Why? Where is this coming from?" We both stood there, emotions pouring out. I didn't understand. I had no warning, no signs. I thought back over the past months, trying to grasp at anything, but there was nothing. "How long have you felt this way?" I asked. "For a while," she admitted, not meeting my eyes. "I've been unhappy for a long time." "A long time?" My voice cracked. "Emma, you never told me anything was wrong. Not once." She just shook her head, tears still falling. I didn't know how. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Then I asked the one question I was afraid to hear the answer to. "Did you cheat?" Her head snapped up. "No," she said quickly. Too quickly. I studied her face, searching for the truth, but I was too shaken to push further. After that, we talked, if you could call it that. More like 2 people standing in the wreckage of their life together, trying to make sense of the destruction. She was emotional. I was emotional. None of it felt real. Then she left. Just like that. She packed some things and went to stay with her mom. 4 days later, we saw each other again because of our dog. Neither of us could take care of him properly on our own, so we had to make arrangements for him to stay at my aunt's house. Seeing her again, I couldn't stop myself from confronting her. "Emma," I said, standing in front of her, my heart pounding. "Did you cheat on me?" She hesitated this time. The silence was deafening. Then, finally, she nodded. "Yes." The word hit me like a punch to the gut. I swallowed hard. "How long?" She looked away. "Since that night I went out drinking," she admitted. "For a whole week. Until I left." I clenched my fists, trying to stay composed. "And you say, you're in love with him?" She nodded again. "I think so." I let out a bitter laugh, shaking my head. "What's so great about him?" She shrugged. Have a connection. A spark. A spark? I repeated. That's it. That's all it takes to throw away everything we built. She didn't answer. Maybe she didn't have one. Maybe she just didn't care enough to find one. Then she started talking about how she felt like she was having some sort of midlife crisis, how she didn't know what she wanted, how she felt lost. I barely recognized the woman in front of me. She even dyed her hair purple out of nowhere, like some kind of desperate attempt to reinvent herself. And now, as if that wasn't enough, she had signed up for lessons to drive a motorcycle. I seriously don't recognize my wife anymore. In just 1 week, it's like she became an entirely different person. Her personality, her behavior, everything changed overnight. She's treating me as if I never existed, like I'm some piece of garbage she tossed to the curb without a second thought. Is this some kind of defense mechanism? Is she trying to push her guilt away, making it easier for herself by pretending I don't matter? Or has she actually changed and just doesn't feel the same anymore? How is that even possible? I get it. Falling in love is intoxicating. It makes everything seem new and exciting. But what happens when the honeymoon phase with this guy fades? When reality sets in? When she wakes up one day and realizes what she threw away? But then that night, I asked her to pack up and leave. She did not wait. These past few weeks have been weird. I feel betrayed, angry, and deeply disappointed. The fact that she cheated still eats away at me. But at the same time, I can't just erase everything we had. Our marriage had a strong foundation. We were happy. At least, I thought we were. Now, 5 weeks have passed since D-Day, and she still hasn't officially filed for divorce. A few nights ago, I called her to check one last time what she wants. Emma, I said when she picked up. So, one last time, are you sure you want to end our marriage? She sighed on the other end. Steve, we've talked about this. No, I said firmly. You talked. You made a decision without me. You blindsided me. So, I'm asking again. Are you really throwing everything away for him? Silence. Finally, she muttered, I don't know what you want me to say. Say it clearly. I want to end my 8-year-old marriage for a different man. I snapped. She was silent, and that told me everything I needed to know. Our marriage ending is 100% her fault. There's no other way to put it. She never once showed me she was unhappy. She never talked about what was bothering her, never asked for change, never gave me a chance to fix things. As far as I knew, she was happy. She sure looked happy. She could have been an actress with how well she hid it. And then, to top it all off, she cheated. This is done. There's no way back from this. And honestly, I don't even want one. I don't miss her. This woman, the one she's become, I don't recognize her, and I don't want to. In a way, I almost feel sorry for the next guy. Because sooner or later, she's going to break his heart just like she broke mine. I know I'll be fine. It'll take time, but I'll get there. It's going to be tough, but we'll deal with it. Life goes on, whether we like it or not. The one thing I am grateful for is the people in my life who have been there for me. My sister is amazing. She's been my rock through all of this. And my friends, the guys I've known for over 20 years, they've had my back every step of the way. I don't know where I'd be without them. One of the guys said something that really stuck with me, about how we married too young. And the more I think about it, the more I realize he's probably right. I was 26. She was 21. That's young. I haven't changed all that much in those years, but maybe she has. Maybe she's been suppressing those feelings for a long time. I don't know. What I do know is that she herself said she feels like she's going through a midlife crisis. Those aren't my words, they're hers. To go a bit more in depth about our mutual interests, hobbies, traits, etc. We both like gaming, but oddly enough, we never really played together. I was into Age of Empires 4 on my PC, while she preferred The Witcher on her PS4. It was our thing, separate, but still something we both enjoyed. When it came to entertainment, we loved watching a good Netflix show together. Ever since Mom passed, we did that even more, using it as a way to spend time together without having to talk about heavy things. Even before that, though, we were more of a stay-in and watch a movie kind of couple rather than going out drinking. Every once in a while, we'd hit the cinema, maybe go out to dinner or play some pool, but mostly, we just liked being with each other. Or at least, I thought we did. Motorcycles were another thing we shared. I had my license and a bike, and while she didn't, she always loved riding on the back. She'd wrap her arms around me, lean in close, and tell me how much she loved the feeling of the wind rushing past us. She'd even mentioned how, when she was a kid, her dad used to take her on rides. It was something special to her. And now, suddenly, she wants her own license. Her own bike. I didn't even know that was something she was thinking about. Another thing she kept to herself. We both valued families, too. Every other Sunday, we'd visit one of our parents, her mom and stepdad, her dad and stepmom, or my father. It was just a routine part of our lives, something we did without question. We'd also take drives to the countryside, find a quiet spot in nature, and go for walks with our dog. Those were some of my favorite moments, Just the two of us. No distractions, no obligations. It felt simple. It felt right. I loved everything about her. The way she talked, the way she walked, the way she laughed. Her looks, her curves. I loved it all. But right now, those feelings are fading fast. I made some calls to set things in motion. Here in the Netherlands, we have something called a mediator. They handle everything. Legal, financial, even the emotional discussions that come with a divorce. They don't take sides, just help both people navigate the process as smoothly as possible. Today, we had our first meeting with the mediator. It was at my home. The meeting itself went as expected. We both made it clear we wanted the divorce. The mediator kept things neutral, as they're supposed to. The infidelity wasn't even mentioned. There was no point. Here, cheating doesn't change anything legally. She still has the same rights as if she'd been faithful, so what was the use in bringing it up? After the mediator left, we were still sitting there at the table, just the two of us. The silence was thick. The only sounds came from our cats, darting around the room, completely unaware of the weight in the air. For a while, neither of us said anything. Finally, I spoke. "Do you have anything left to say?" She barely looked at me. "No." I nodded. "Okay then. I think you can go now. I don't want you here." She hesitated. "I actually came by a cab. Can you drop me home?" I scoffed. "No. How you're getting home is your own problem. I'm not in the mood to drive 30 minutes just to take you back." She looked at me then, really looked at me. There was something in her expression, shock, maybe even hurt. I think she expected me to drive her home, just like I always did. Normally, in the past, I would have done everything for her. If she needed a ride, I'd give her one. If she needed help, I'd be there. But that version of me doesn't exist anymore, not for her. After I refused to take her home, she pulled out her phone and called her mom. I heard her speaking quietly, explaining the situation. Her mom must have agreed because she hung up and said, "She's picking me up in about an hour." I just nodded, not saying anything. She lingered for a moment before adding, "I'm going to take a walk until she gets here." Without another word, I got up and opened the door and she left. I watched her go, noticing how her shoulders slumped slightly, how her face looked almost lost. She was hurt, visibly emotional. But I didn't care. She's still lost in the affair fog, still making choices that prove she's not the person I thought she was. As far as I'm concerned, she means nothing to me now. She's just another person in my past. But there's something that's been bothering me. I used to work as a driver at a transport company, Hypertrans. I was there for 11 years before I quit about 4 months ago to take a new job somewhere else. About a year and a half ago, I got my wife a job at Hypertrans, working in the office. That's where she met him. Her affair partner, Fred. He works in the warehouse at Hypertrans. I know him. I worked there for over a decade, so I know everyone at that company. I was friends with a lot of them, especially the guys in dispatch. They liked me. Some of them were like brothers to me. As far as I know, my old coworkers, her current coworkers, are aware we're getting divorced. But I don't think anyone knows about the affair. No one has mentioned it to me, and I haven't heard anything from my old friends at Hypertrans. There's one guy in particular who might know something, though. My wife's direct coworker. He's a 32-year-old guy who sits at the desk right next to her. And he was also there, the night my wife cheated. Alex. He was one of my favorite people at that office. We got along well. He always had a way of making things lighter, easier, even on the worst work days. He left early the night my wife cheated, so he probably doesn't know the full story. But he should. She starts work again on Monday, and I've been thinking more and more about messaging him, telling him exactly what happened. Not just for me. Though, yeah, there's definitely a part of me that wants some revenge, but also for him. He has to work with her every day. He should know what kind of person she really is. I could already picture how that conversation would go. "Hey, Alex, you got a minute?" "Steve? Wow, hey. How are you, man? Listen, I need to tell you something. It's about my wife." I'd lay it all out for him. Tell him how she betrayed me, how she had an affair with Fred, the guy from the warehouse, how she's been lying to everyone. I'd let him process it, let it sink in. "Wait, you're serious? With that guy?" "Yeah, the one you were out with that night." I'd wait for his reaction, and maybe, just maybe, he'd spread the truth around the office. Let everyone know who she really is. Because the truth is, I do want people to know. I want her to feel the weight of what she's done. I want her to walk into work on Monday knowing that every single one of her coworkers is looking at her differently. Is that petty? Maybe. But after everything she's put me through, I think I'm allowed to be a little petty. And speaking of her, her behavior lately has been insane. She's treating everyone around her like trash. Well, not everyone. Fred and her parents are apparently exempt. But me? She acts like I was the worst husband in the world. She's been cold, dismissive, outright cruel. It's like she's rewritten history in her head, convincing herself that she's been miserable for years, that this is somehow my fault, which, frankly, is complete crap. At this point, I don't care what she does to me. She can lie, she can ignore me, she can pretend I never meant anything to her. It doesn't matter. It's her life she's destroying, not mine. But what does bother me is how her actions are affecting the people who actually cared about her. She claimed she wanted to stay close with my younger sister, that they'd always be very good friends, but I've noticed they haven't spoken in weeks. Then there's her best friend, someone I call a mutual friend at this point. They had plans today, shopping, a fun day out. Her friend even took the day off for it. Yesterday, she sent multiple messages checking if they were still on. No response. She called, nothing. And today? Same thing. More messages, more calls, all ignored. But here's the kicker. My soon-to-be ex was online the whole time. Her WhatsApp status showed it. She saw the messages. She just chose not to answer. I got a text from her best friend earlier. Steve, I don't know what's going on. She's ignoring me. I've been crying all day. I don't understand why she's doing this to me. What was I supposed to say? I don't understand it either. Because I don't. Is this normal for someone in an affair fog? Maybe. Or maybe it's something else entirely. I don't care what she does anymore, but it's painful to see people who do care about her get treated like this. And, of course, she's going around telling people we split because we grew apart, because she hasn't been happy for years. Typical. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. A cheater never admits the truth. Instead, they rewrite history to make themselves look like the victim. Anything to avoid saying the real reason, that they fell in love with someone else. Oh, I almost forgot something that I think is really important. My wife's best friend, our mutual friend, actually lived with us for about 6 months, from November 2021 to April 2022. She had just gotten out of a terrible relationship and had nowhere to stay. Since we had a spare room, we took her in without hesitation. During that time, my wife and her BFF talked about everything. Their relationships, their sex lives, their insecurities, their dreams. There was nothing off limits between them. I still talk to her BFF every day. She's been incredibly kind and completely honest with me. So, naturally, I asked her the one question that had been nagging at me. Did my wife ever mention being unhappy with me? Ever? Even once? Her answer was immediate. No, Steve. Never. Not once did she say she was unhappy with you. If she had, I would have remembered. You know how we were. We told each other everything. And there it was. Proof that my soon-to-be ex-wife was lying. Either she had kept her supposed unhappiness completely to herself for years, never breathing a word about it to her closest confidant, or she was fabricating this entire narrative to justify what she did. And honestly, I don't know which is worse. I never saw any signs of unhappiness. Not once did she act like she was miserable in our marriage. And now, hearing this from her best friend, someone who knew her better than anyone, it's clear that all of this, the affair, the betrayal, the abandonment, it wasn't because she was unhappy. It was because she's selfish. Every time someone asks me why we're divorcing, I don't sugarcoat it. I tell them the truth. I tell them she's a selfish cheater. Just yesterday, a female friend showed me some texts between her and my wife. The conversation went something like this. Oh my God, honey, is it true? You and Steve are separated? Yes, sadly, this is the truth. Oh my God, no? What happened? Yeah, well, we just grew apart over the last few years and have different goals in life. We decided to end it. Needless to say, I corrected that lie immediately. I told our friend, that's not the truth at all. She cheated on me. She fell in love, so she claims, and left me for another man. Everyone I've told the real story to has been shocked. Not one person, including myself, would have ever believed that my wife was capable of doing something like this. She wasn't the kind of person anyone expected to betray their spouse, to walk away from a marriage like it meant nothing. But here we are. At this point, though, I've realized something. She's out there living her life without me. So, I've started doing the same. Work has been going great. I joined a gym, and I've been going 3 times a week. My muscles hurt like hell, but it's a good kind of pain. As for the divorce, the process is moving forward. We had to gather a lot of documents, and they've been sent to the mediator. Now, we're just waiting to hear back to schedule our next meeting and keep things moving. But one thing is certain, the divorce is happening. There's no going back. Because the marriage itself is over for sure. 3 months later. In just 4 days, we're going to sign our divorce papers and make everything official. It's hard to believe, but this chapter of my life is finally coming to a close. Looking back, I can admit that I made mistakes along the way. I got angry, frustrated, and completely lost control. I couldn't understand how she had just thrown everything away like it meant nothing. For months, I was a mess, obsessing over every detail, replaying everything in my head, trying to make sense of the senseless. Then, one day, I just stopped. I woke up and realized I was done being pathetic. I made the decision to quit the whining, to stop making her betrayal the center of my life. I told her, I've thought about everything a lot, and I've come to the conclusion that I would still be open to talking to you and seeing where things go. But I can't guarantee anything. That was the last time I ever gave her any power over me. For the last few months, I haven't reached out to her at all, except when absolutely necessary. Things related to our divorce, finances, and the house. No casual conversations, no unnecessary texts. I refused to sit around waiting for something that was never going to happen. One of the biggest hurdles I faced was dealing with our house. We bought it together, and for a while, I wasn't sure if I could afford to keep it. But I sat down with the bank, ran the numbers, and figured out a way. So, you're saying I can take on a higher mortgage? I asked the loan officer. Yes, based on your income and financial stability, you qualify for the extra amount. You'll have to pay your ex-wife about $65,000, but if you're prepared for that, it's doable. I'm prepared, I said without hesitation. I didn't want to lose the house. Not just because it was a place I loved, but because it was mine. I refused to let her take that from me too. So, in 4 days, we'll sign everything. I'll pay her what she's owed, and that will be it. I will be the sole owner of our former mutual home, a property worth around $300,000. I'm not exactly thrilled about having to pay her $65,000, but in the long run, it's a small price to pay for peace of mind and complete independence. I'll own my own home, something that's worth 5 times the amount I'm paying her. Meanwhile, she no longer has a place of her own. Officially, she's moved back in with her mom, but I know she spends a lot of time at Fred's house. I'm not in contact with her, so how do I know this? Well, we have a mutual friend. We've never really hung out as a group, but this friend and I still talk regularly. From what I understand, my ex jumped straight into a new relationship with Fred. But recently, from what I've heard, it seems like she's completely lost her mind. But karma has a funny way of working itself out. When she and Fred first got together 5 months ago, everything seemed perfect for them. They were all over each other, playing the happy couple while I was picking up the pieces of my life. But now, the tables are turning. Fred is struggling with depression. I know this for a fact because our mutual friend showed me screenshots of a conversation between my ex-wife and her. I don't know what to do, my ex wrote. He's just not the same anymore. He barely talks, and when he does, he's so negative. I didn't sign up for this. Maybe he just needs time, the friend replied. Depression is tough. I get that, but I can't be the one to fix him, my ex said. It made me laugh, to be honest. The guy she threw everything away for is now sitting at home, miserable and unemployed. That's another thing. I also found out that Fred lost his job during the job cuts. While I was hitting the gym, rebuilding my confidence, and securing my future, he was spiraling. Even back when all of this first happened, I always knew I was better than him. Not just because of his lack of morals, but because he was never even in my league to begin with. Now I know for sure. The man my ex threw away our marriage for is turning out to be exactly what I expected, worthless. I can't help but think, what was she even thinking? At the start of their relationship, I was still in contact with her. I even warned her. I told her she was making a huge mistake, that she didn't really know the kind of person Fred was. Of course, she didn't listen. But now I see that I was right all along. Not only has he proven himself to be the loser I already suspected he was, but he's also introduced something into her life that could completely destroy her. Through our mutual friend, I found out that Fred got her into hard narcotics. I haven't talked to her about it, and I don't plan to. If she wants to ruin her own life, that's her choice. But from where I'm standing, it looks like everything is falling apart for her. Fast. I'm certain she's struggling, maybe even doubting her own choices. I hadn't spoken to her or seen her at all during the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, nothing. But then, about a week into the new year, out of nowhere, she texted me. Are you home? Can I come over? I stared at the message for a while before replying. No thanks, my holidays are going great, don't want to ruin it. A few days later, I got another surprise. My ex's mom called me. I didn't expect it at all, but it was nice to hear from her. After all, she had been family for the last 8 years. Happy New Year, Steve, she said. I just wanted to call and wish you all the best. I hope this year brings you happiness. Thank you, I said. I really appreciate that. How are you doing? I'm okay, she said, but there was something in her tone. A hesitation. Listen, I wanted to tell you that she's not doing well. We had her in rehab for a week and now, she's been very sad. Crying a lot. I think she's mourning the marriage. Well, it's absolutely not my problem. I told her straight up. Emma made her bed. She should be ready to sleep in it. There was no point in sugarcoating it. The conversation didn't last long after that. I thanked her for the New Year's wishes and was just about to hang up when she hesitated and asked, is there any possibility for you two to get back together? I barely even had to think about it. No, I said casually. I don't think I'll ever invest any more in her. She's not worth the effort. Then I hung up. 7 months later, I had moved on. I wasn't just existing. I was actually happy for the first time in a long while. I had started dating Becky, and things between us were great. For once, I wasn't looking over my shoulder, thinking about the past, or wondering what if. I was focused on the present, on a woman who actually valued me. Then, out of nowhere, my ex-mother-in-law called again. This time, it wasn't just small talk. "Emma's in therapy," she said, her voice heavy. "She's struggling with both depression and addiction. I think it would help if you reached out." I didn't even hesitate. "No," I said firmly. "I'm not her husband. I'm not responsible for her anymore. I'm not dragging any of that emotional trauma back into my life." She scoffed. "You're being selfish." I just smiled to myself and shot back, "Thank you. Have a nice day." Then I ended the call. That was it. She never called me again. Now, I'm in the best shape of my life. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Becky and I spend our evenings laughing, trash-talking, and battling it out on Mortal Kombat. We play together, side by side, and enjoy our life. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.